Hello everyone, welcome to Snap or Pass. My name's MJ and this is the series where we look at the brand new card in Marvel Snap every single week. This week it's Fenris Wolf. He's a 2/3, activate, resurrect the highest powered discarded or destroyed enemy card to your side of this location. We're going to be discussing the spotlight caches that he's in, give you some cool deck ideas, discuss counters, favourable locations, all of the fun stuff. You can use the chapters below to skip to the section that you want to watch, or you can watch the whole thing. If you're new, please subscribe. We were on the road to 2,099 subscribers. We're going to have a very interesting and funny video coming soon for that. Next milestone is probably going to be I Love You 3,000. Let's go for that. Anyway, let's talk about the spotlight caches that Fenris Wolf is in first and foremost. They're all Series 5, so that's good. There's some good value here. The one thing I will say with that is that we are expecting a series drop very soon, and it is possible that some of these might drop. Definitely Werewolf by Night I could see being a contender, and honestly maybe Annihilus as well, although they might keep Annihilus as one of like the big bad style cards, and maybe it'll never drop because it's such like an archetype defining card. But we'll see. In terms of the actual quality here, I actually do really like Annihilus, and I think you could actually still see some great success with Annihilus. I've been running a few Annihilus decks recently and been having success and fun with them. I think he's an extremely cool card. In fact, I bought the ultimate variant for him recently, the Kim Jacinto one. So yeah, generally I think Annihilus is good if you like clog and junk style of play. Werewolf by Night, listen guys, this guy on his release, this guy was my favourite card in the game. He's just fallen off. I think just the power level has fallen a little bit off. There's a bit more clog these days. He's a difficult card to play, so there's a lot going against him. I don't know. I think if you're a high skill player, you can still get a lot out of him. I find him a bit too weak these days, but maybe he'll have his day again. We'll see. Listen, I'm always rooting for this guy. So, right, let's move on to the mechanics of Fenris Wolf. The main archetypes that I see Fenris Wolf fitting into are actually primarily mill, but also discard disruption, so discarding your opponent's cards, and maybe just control decks, so techie style control decks. Maybe he may fit into like the Sarah style play if you're playing Killmonger or Shang-Chi, that sort of thing, ways to destroy their cards, even if it's low level cards. I think Fenris Wolf could fit into those decks. It's an activate card, so you can play it early to prepare for a future turn. That's incredibly relevant. Some of these tech cards like Shadowkin and stuff, you do actually need to conserve or prepare energy that you intend to play at the end of the game in order to benefit from their effect. Fenris Wolf you can play out early in preparation. He synergizes with both destroy effects and discard effects, so there's opportunities for him there in either, you know, merged style decks, which of course we'll look at, or if you just want to go the discard route or you just want to go the destroy route, the option is there as well. And crucial to say that he resurrects the card at the same location as himself, not necessarily where it was destroyed if applicable. For example, cards like Yondu, they don't destroy cards at a specific location, but those cards like Yondu should still work with Fenris Wolf. So the pros. He's pretty flexible within decks that want to discard or destroy your opponent's cards. There's lots of triggers for him. Yondu, Electra, is this going to be another Electra card? Like, maybe. We've spoken a lot about Electra recently. Gladiator, definitely a big one. Obviously, a lot of these cards are mill-based as well. Black Bolt, Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, of course, being one of the most popular cards in the game, so there's definitely opportunity there. He's potentially huge value with you destroying a big card, which creates a very big swing. So is he like a mini leader almost? You destroy something with Shang-Chi, you pull it back at the Fenris Wolf location. That's huge. I mean, that's like a 20 plus power swing. And he's a very threatening card that may force your opponent to make weaker plays. So this, again, leads into the control style element of the card. If you have this Fenris Wolf on the location, they can't deal with it with some of the counters, then they're going to be thinking, well, if I play something that's got 10 power, they're definitely Shang-Chi it, and so they can definitely bring it back. That is going to change the way they play. Particularly, it might make them want to play a 10 power card into the Fenris Wolf location, because at least if you then Shang-Chi that location, you're only flipping that one location rather than potentially two. So, very interesting element. That's probably going to be an underrated element to Fenris Wolf, I suspect. Now, the cons. He's predictable and counterable. setting up a late game play in the early game potentially. I mean, the latest you can set him up is turn 5, unless there's magic and limbo and stuff. But the latest you can set him up is turn 5 because he's an activate. So no matter what happens, there is going to be an element of predictability to Fenris Wolf. Even if all you've done is like a Yondu or whatever, they're going to know what is coming back via their card, and they can somewhat play around what else you could possibly bring back. Now, there are unknown things, like on the final turn, you might discard a card from their hand, which they may not be expecting. They might be expecting a Shang-Chi or something, but maybe something gets discarded from their hand, especially through cards like Moon Knight. Because they discard an even costed card, you're definitely not getting, well, sorry, you're not definitely getting something low, you might get something high. So that's going to be really interesting. And something to watch out for, of course. Be trepidatious. The grass is not always greener, you know? Yeah, don't know why I had an accent, that was all just very strange. So he's not reliable. You may not always be able to Shang-Chi a high value target, and they might be playing stuff like the Hood. That's going to be no good to bring back on the final turn of the game. So, yeah, definitely some questionable elements to Fenris Wolf. Let's look at the locations. Quite a lot of locations to talk about, actually, because there's just obviously quite a lot of discard and destroy locations. So, Weapon X facility, you're discarding a random card, so that's pretty good. That could hit a high target, or it could discard your Fenris Wolf if you haven't had a chance to play him yet. Sokovia, again, random, so that's good. Sinister London, going to be able to get you to double hit. I mean, the one thing with that is you're playing, or you're taking up 2 spots with 3 power, so you do need to ensure that whatever you're bringing back is high value. So that's where like the Shang-Chis are probably going to be more applicable than the Yondus, because there are a lot of cards that destroy the lowest power or cheap stuff. So often Fenris Wolf is going to be bringing back cheap stuff. Actually, that is one thing I want to say. That's relevant to say as a potentially bad point in the context of Sinister London. But actually, just in general context, Fenris Wolf is just a generally good card, even if you just play Yondu. Because, let's say you destroy a 2 power card, that makes Fenris Wolf a 2/5. Yes, he's taken up 2 spots, but that's not bad. It's alright, and you know, that card that you're resurrecting may have an ability, may have an effect. So, yes, again, just going to be good at the lowest level. Quantum Realm's going to be alright. It's going to shave a power off Fenris Wolf, but you'll be able to bring back potentially more than 2 power there. Lamentus 1, destroying so many cards that, yeah, that may well bring back something very good. Nowhere, you're not going to be able to be Red Guardian, which is obviously something we'll talk about in the counters. Hotel Inferno, again, you're destroying random stuff, so it could be high value. Cloning Vats and multiple Fenris Wolves going to feel good. Very much, possibly, especially in like a mill style deck where you're able to destroy lots of their cards. And Brooklyn Bridge, you can play it maybe on turn 5. They think you're not going to be able to get too much in there, and then you can surprise them on the final turn by you not having played a card into there, but you can activate Fenris Wolf, and maybe you've destroyed something bigger than they were expecting you to. And then some bad locations. Danger Room is just a very big gamble. Obviously, generally speaking, it's always a gamble to play into Danger Room, but there's going to be potentially a lot resting on Fenris Wolf, so probably wouldn't ever be playing Fenris Wolf into there. And Dark Dimension. Not to say you're also, again, you're setting up something, so you're telling your opponent that you're vying for the location. They can send more stuff into there to try and counteract that. And Dark Dimension is going to mean you literally can't activate the card, so. Counters. So Red Guardian is obviously the biggest counter. Going to just absolutely remove Fenris Wolf's ability straight away, so that's going to feel horrific. Scream, I don't. Well, the thing with Scream is it just kind of plays into the clog as well. I put the entire clog archetype on the counters as well. Basically, if you play Fenris Wolf, they might try and clog that location before you can actually pull back the thing that they've destroyed. And Scream, in a clog / move disruption deck, you're going to be able to they're going to be able to pull that Fenris Wolf into a location that they're probably going to try and block. So you want to try and destroy the stuff and get the activate off as soon as possible if you are against these clog decks. That being said, you're probably pulling something small and you've just clogged yourself. So yeah, just generally not ever going to feel good against clog. Let's look at the key synergies and the actual deck ideas I've got for you guys. So we've discussed most of these, but let's discuss some of the others. Yondu was spoken about endlessly. Killmonger. Yeah, actually going to be killing probably multiple 1-cost cards. And interestingly, again, one of the best points about Fenris Wolf is reviving the highest power card. So it doesn't matter what you've destroyed, he's always going to bring back the best option for you. So that's really cool. Moon Knight, we've spoken about, it can hit something big. Gambit, again, no restriction on what it can destroy, so it can destroy something big. That could be really cool. Shang-Chi, we've spoken about. And Stature, if you're playing like the discard disruption style of deck, or just, you know, discarding multiple things from them, that's going to feel very good, especially alongside Moon Knight. Moon Knight is discarding even costed cards. Stature is not going to get discarded by Moon Knight, so that's cool. Let's look at the specific decks though. So first of all, we've got Magic Mill. This is a fairly standard mill deck, but we've got some interesting, I've called it magic because like we've got some like sketchy, unpredictable weird stuff in there, like the leader, like the Cersei, and like the anti-venom. So those are going to be really cool, especially if you do hit something cheap and low with anti-venom, like one of your 1 or 2 cost cards. You can maybe play that for free into a Cersei that you're already planned to Cersei anyway. Maybe you've locked down another location, so yeah, that might feel good. And then you can activate, in fact you can activate the Fenris Wolf alongside Cersei in another location to, whilst you're only playing smaller stuff or vying for one location with the Cersei, actually because of the Fenris Wolf you're able to bring back something extra. One note to say about the Cersei Fenris Wolf interaction, of course, is play the Cersei first before you activate Fenris Wolf. That's just in case you evolve another destroy card via Cersei, which is not insanely unlikely. Like, it's highly possible. It's not going to happen all the time, obviously. It's not even going to happen often, but it is possible. It's far from the stretches of your imagination. Anyway, the other elements of this deck, we've got things like Cable and Yondu to mill your opponent. We can duplicate those effects with Grandmaster. You've got Gladiator, which hopefully you're destroying something. If you get some, if the good news about Gladiator is if you pull out something big, you'll then probably be able to Shang-Chi it, and then you can bring those things back with Fenris Wolf, and you can Leader to ensure that you copy something big on the final turn. Very interesting stuff. Like you're copying what little they have left. So yeah, I think it's an interesting opportunity for this new mill deck. The next one is a gimmicky mill deck. So this is Moon Mill. The whole idea behind this is obviously Moon Girl, and you can use the Moon Girl to either target your Fenris Wolf and get some double action at the end of the game, or, especially good with Moon Girl, would be Marvel Boy, because this is kind of like a bit of a zoo deck as well. Like Millie, Zooey, Fenrisy, and then you've got this sort of kind of, not really a backup plan, but just this surprise threat of Null. So let's talk about it a little bit. Some of the other good cards that you would be perfectly happy copying with Moon Girl include Martyr, Hydra Bob, like I said, Marvel Boy, and of course the Fenris Wolf. Maybe the Mystique, possibly. If you've destroyed enough cards by the end of the game, you could do like something on turn 5. If you've got turn 6 with magic in here, you could do the Null on turn 6 and then double Mystique on the final turn. Could be interesting. If none of this stuff gets destroyed, of course, or Enchantress, etc. But yeah, generally the point of this is you can do double Fenris Wolf or double Marvel Boy. Those are probably the main hits. And then on the final turn, you could do something like even just Electras or Gladiators, and then double Fenris Wolf. Yondu, double Fenris Wolf. Like you're always going to be destroying plenty. Or typically, actually, if they're not playing any 1-cost cards, so you can't Electra, and the thing that you pull from Gladiator doesn't get destroyed, there is actually only Yondu to destroy cards, so it kind of falls apart in that instance. But yeah, like I say, guys, this is a gimmicky one. This is if you want to play something different. Finally, the last deck is slightly more discard focused. I've called it the Melter, because you're melting their options, you're melting their cards. You've got those mill cards like Yondu and Baron Zemo still in here, but actually we're leaning more into the discard stuff with Moon Knight, Gambit, and we've got Stature in here as well. And very interesting to note is the curve here, guys. We've got lots of 1-drops, lots of 3-drops, and lots of 5-drops. The only even costed cards we have in this deck are Fenris Wolf, which hopefully you just play down by turn 2, or you just play it down certainly before you play your Moon Knight, because Moon Knight then can discard Proxima Midnight as your other even costed card. And then on the final turn of the game, you can make cool plays like Lady Deathstrike, Stature, and trigger the Fenris Wolf. Or it could be a Black Bolt stature and you trigger the Fenris Wolf. So Fenris not always hitting something big, but the potential is there. With cards like Gambit and Moon Knight, the potential is definitely there. In fact, a final turn, Gambit and Baron Zemo and activating Fenris Wolf in this deck could feel really like a massive swing. Like, that's a lot of power. That's at least like 10 power that you're actually playing on the board / adding via Fenris Wolf. But then alongside the destruction of whatever you're destroying with Gambit, let's say that's a free cost card. Yeah, it gets bigger and bigger, and remember that's a swing on the location where you're destroying the card as well. So very interesting stuff. A little bit more unpredictable, a little bit annoying, and could be fun. This may be the one I'll actually start with. We'll see. I'm not sure. Spoilers. I am going to get Fenris Wolf. Star ratings. I'd give Fenris Wolf overall 4 stars. I do actually think he actually may be slightly overhyped by people, but I do think he's a very solid card. Like I say, I think people sometimes get hung up on what is the best thing you can do with a card. Like the Shang-Chi with this card is definitely going to feel really, really good. But I think sometimes people maybe get fixated on those types of plays. But actually, if you just Yondu and you just happen to tag something like a 2-costed card from theirs, maybe it was a Medusa and you've got Fenris Wolf at the middle location, maybe that is good enough, you know. So maybe those lower costed plays, good value, maybe those will feel okay. I think within the archetype, definitely going to feel like a 4-star card. I think in primarily mill. Fun, maybe 3.5. I'm not sure it's always going to feel amazing or interesting, but 3.5 I think is good. And competitive wise, I do think it's a good card. I think 4 stars is fair. So ultimately, I got absolutely mad itch there. Obviously it was obvious. I know. I'm not saying it was hard to see that. Anyway, I'm going way too off track. Is Fenris Wolf a snap or pass? Yeah, I think it is a snap. The Spotlight week isn't the best, so maybe tokens for you. I updated my plan yesterday. Actually, what is my plan? What is my bloody plan? Let me show you my plan. I will be doing a Spotlight cash plan video soon because we've just had these massive leaks. But here's my plan that I've written down. We'll go frame breaked for this so you can actually see it. So I'm doing keys. I'm rolling keys. That's surprising. I'm rolling keys instead of tokens. I might need to check that. I honestly don't know. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you're doing for Fenris Wolf. Are you getting him? And as always, I don't know why I said as always. I actually don't have a catchphrase for signing off these videos, but I hope you have a bloody fantastic day.